Hello. I've just been reading the most extraordinary story. Paul Keating, not a man I would normally warm to. He was the Labour leader of Australia a few years ago. And he has been talking about Liz Truss. Now, Liz Truss is our Foreign Secretary, and she's also got ambitions on Boris Johnson's current job, should Boris have to go. I think Liz Truss would make a dreadful Prime Minister. So, what she's done in the last couple of days is drawn a comparison between Russia's ambitions in the Ukraine and China's ambitions in the Pacific. And she says that the two countries, China and Russia, are working more closely together. This is actually true. They're working perhaps in concert. It doesn't mean that they have the same acquisitive ambitions. And in fact, it would be wrong to suggest that they do. Yes, we know China has its eyes on Taiwan. It doesn't mean it's necessarily going to invade in the same way that Russia is poised at the moment to invade the Ukraine. Why? Because the same pressures are not on China that are on the Kremlin and Russia. China is not ruled by somebody who is desperate. Russia is. And, Paul Keating, I think, is quite wise in this respect. Paul Keating calls for a deeper engagement with China. This is frankly what I've been calling for with Russia. The saber rattling is not the way to dissuade a bully and a rogue. You only have to read something like Shakespeare's Tempest to see that there is another route. Kindness, compassion, mercy. These are words that should have meaning in a civilized society. Saber rattling can only take us so far. Even if the saber rattling takes us to war, we still need kindness, compassion, mercy, and peace after all the war is over. We still need those values. Of course, we shouldn't be pushed into a corner. Of course, we shouldn't turn a blind eye if other people are treated appallingly. Of course not. But we should be talking. We should be reaching out and being constructive rather than threatening. This isn't jaw that Biden and in fact our own Prime Minister are now engaged in. This isn't what Churchill would have seen as jaw. This is threat. And it's not the right language to be using. And certainly it's not the right language that we should be using towards China. We need to be firm, but we need to be flexible. Firm and flexible. All the F's. And we're simply not thinking creatively at the moment, and we're going to get ourselves and others into a lot of trouble. Why are we not thinking creatively? Because we're distracted. Boris, who I think in normal circumstances would be one of the more creative people in the diplomatic world, is completely distracted. Hoist with his own petard, and of course we all enjoy watching somebody going down. But watching somebody going down with the ship, that's not something we should be encouraging. And that's on the cards at the moment. We are distracted when great events are playing out elsewhere. And we need to get our act together. We need to stop playing around. Paul Keating is, in this instance, a very wise man. And incidentally, he calls out Liz Truss. I've been doing this for a while now. So there we've got so many of the people that Boris has surrounded himself by are utterly useless. None of them could run a country. Boris is probably the best we've got out of that bunch. The only hope for the future is to bring on some of the backbenchers who show promise. And that Boris should be doing immediately. We've seen there's a gap now in the Treasury. Boris should be filling that tomorrow with one of these backbenchers. He should be bringing people forward fast.